Do something, man. People are questioning you.
Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the DubCast. In this episode, I will be giving my reactions and review of Survivor Season 46, Episode 10, titled Run the Red Light. Okay, so let's get into it. Full spoilers ahead. So we start this episode, as usual, where the contestants come back from Tribal Council, where Hunter was voted out at the last Tribal Council, and it turns out that Liz, who is a very important person in this episode, was actually intentionally left out of the vote. So when they did the vote last time, they split on Hunter and Q, and then on the revote, voted out Hunter, and on the revote, Liz voted for Q again. She was the only one who voted for Q again. I saw something from her on Twitter, but I guess she was intentionally left out, as mentioned in the previous episode that they were planning on doing, and I also mentioned that in my review of the episode. So it turns out that was true, that she actually got left out of the vote, which I don't know. Maybe because she was close with Hunter, so maybe that was a smart decision. I just thought that was something interesting to note here to start off. That was true about Liz being left out of the vote, and obviously this is a huge Liz episode. So let's keep it moving here. Another thing I noticed was Venus. This was a very minimal Venus episode, actually, I just realized, but her at the beginning, she calls out Hunter for trying to save his idol for the next round, which is dumb. We went over this last episode, but never try and galaxy brain an idol. If you feel any in danger and you have that idol with you, play it. You don't need to save it for next round and try and pull these last minute shenanigans, which I guess listening to his exit press this week, that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to just finesse one round longer. He was kind of a dead man walking besides the challenges. So Venus correctly calls that out on him trying to save the idol. And my boy Q, man, you know I love Q. He is just sitting at the beach by himself this whole episode. I feel bad for him, dude. I mean, no one wants to work with him besides Maria. He's just sitting there, and Maria takes the correct approach to this that we saw last season with Caleb and Emily, where nobody really wanted to work with Emily, but Caleb said, you know what, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to give you an olive branch. Let's talk. Let's work some things out. And I appreciate Maria using this strategy. I think that's the right move. Why get rid of a number when you can have a number for free? Like that was smart by Maria, and we see that paying dividends in two separate moments later on in this episode, actually. So I really wanted to applaud Maria for that move there. So, and then we cut to Kenzie, where she kind of explains how a Tiffany blindside would make sense for her. And I'm starting to understand this move from her perspective now in this episode, where she mentions that it's kind of a good time to differentiate between her and Tiffany's game because they've played the exact same game so far. Obviously, we will see the result that happens later, but I was understanding the context of her move, and especially it seems like she's in tight with Ben for sure, and then Maria and Charlie also. It seems like those three have a lot of conversations, so I think it's making sense. You got the final 8, you have 4 numbers, go for it. I respect it now. I walk back my statement a little bit from last week about Kenzie and this move, so props to her, or not props to her, but I'll give her some cred where credit is due. Maybe this move does make sense. Now we get to the reward challenge, which best reward challenge in the new era, obviously, because of what happens. So first off, I want to give a shout out to Applebees. If I was out on the beach and they said Applebees, bro, damn right, I'm literally trying my whole ass off. The amount of times I've been to Applebees in the past year, absurd. Half off appetizers after 9. If you know, you know. $5. It's either $5 PBRs in the tall glass. Endless boneless wings. Just had like 5 wings for I forget, there's some sort of deal with wings. I had like 5 orders of wings. Respect to Applebee's, man. They don't get a lot of credit, but I've been in that restaurant way too many times, and I want to give them props here. Also, the chicken quesadillas that they had, the sampler, the mozzarella sticks, so good. Half off apps after 9. Applebee's, respect. I would literally die trying to get this reward challenge. This would be the only reward challenge if I went on the show that I would actually try and win. And obviously, well, I'll talk about this a little bit later. Okay, so we get to this reward challenge where you have to go through a bunch of obstacles, blah, 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 typical Survivor challenge. And my boy Q wins it, which, good for him, we could have used that in the immunity, but it's all right. Q wins here, and then he has to pick the classic one person, then another person, then another person, so he ends up picking half the people left. So first he chose Tiffany, which I thought was interesting, and his reasoning was sound. He was like, we gotta make up, because they were literally screaming at each other last tribal council, so reconcile. I mean, Q literally has nobody, so just choosing anybody, fine. And then he says Maria, which is part 1 of her walking up to him, paying dividends, where now he wins a challenge. Now she's the second person he calls to come get Applebee's. Now Maria taking that move and going up to Q and trying to work with him when no one else would. That pays dividends for Maria here, as she gets to go on this reward now with Q. And then we got Liz, bro. What is there to say about this woman? I have a lot to say about Liz. Well, not really, but a couple things. So she's basically like freaking out because her and her daughter go to Applebee's every Wednesday and get the burger, or she gets the burger and her daughter gets a pizza, and they watch Survivor and she turns her phone off, which is a respectable bonding activity. I have nothing wrong with that. Good for her, do your thing. But she's freaking out. She's like sobbing her eyes out, and people always kind of poo-poo and cry for these rewards, and you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean, this is why I never want to win a reward, because who am I bringing? Like, it's always drama, and they turn against you and whatever. Q at this point's just like, fuck it, and he doesn't pick Liz to come with him. He picks Kenzie, which I thought, pick somebody else, bro. Kenzie, like, she ain't gonna work with you. But he wants to reconcile his original tribe, which was him, Tiffany, and Kenzie. So he wants to get the band back together, quote unquote. After literally like last episode, we saw that they were declared dead. I don't know if I'd pick Kenzie to come on this reward. That was my one questionable. But he has all full rights to not pick Liz. Liz, you literally voted for him twice. You're the only person to vote for him twice last tribal council. Why would he pick you? You guys don't. Doesn't seem, from what we're seeing, it doesn't seem like you talk at all. So I'm with Q, bro. Shocker, but I'm on Q's side. Who cares, Liz? You voted for me twice. You think now I'm gonna pity you and pick you on this reward? Okay, no. Yeah, and also on the mat, she's freaking out. She's like, Q, you ruined my game, and I was trying to make these moves, and you... Don't mention that crap in front of everybody, bro. You're airing your grievances... Well, you're airing your grievances out, good for you, but don't bring the game into it. That's just stupid. Why would you ever say that? And her, being like, oh, I tried to maneuver these moves, but couldn't do it. Why would you admit your strategic intent? Why would you say anything like that? I get it, she's in this kind of panicked, freaked out mode, but... Girl, take a chill pill. Literally take 3 deep breaths. You'll live. You've been out here for 18 days on water and sunshine, girl. You'll be fine. I mean, I know this is a reward you want. The end is in sight, Liz. Okay, chill. I mean, I respect the outburst though, because we need drama on the show. I love drama. So give it to him. Whatever, roast him. But I'm on Q's side. Obviously. So once he picks Tiffany, she freaks out. And she's like, oh, I'm pissed, which is going to be like an all-time Survivor moment probably. This season, man, what a turnaround. This went from being down there with one of the lower seasons on the new... Well, okay, preface this. At the end of the season, I'm going to give my review for this season in comparison to the New Era season, so I'm not going to spoil it now. Obviously, the season is still ongoing, but... This was not a good start to the season at all. The Banu show, I liked Banu, I mentioned this before, but ever since the split tribal council, this season has been on fire, and I'm so excited to finish watching this. What a show we've been getting lately, man. Liz and Q going at it now. It seems like there's something going on every week that's interesting and riveting, and obviously the vote here is super exciting. So this was awesome. Keep bringing this energy, Survivor. Let's get after it. So Liz, she freaks out. Q's like, you know what? I know she hasn't eaten, but I want to get the tribal back together. And so there's going to be people, Liz, who say, why even come on Survivor? And I'm kind of in that camp, but I'm also like, Liz, like, you have not eaten for 18 days. Why do you need, don't freak out. I mean, I know it's just like, I don't think I would freak out like this. But the people who are saying don't even come on Survivor, clearly this is her dream. She's very involved in the community. So I'm going to say, you know what, like, just don't complain. That's my advice. You can come on Survivor all you want. If you can only eat one thing and you can survive, that's fine. But you can't expect to be the pity / person that everyone wants to give things to, or the charity case. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody really likes that person. The person who's always asking to get something. That's not, no. So that's my gripe there. The people who say, why even come on the show? There's freaking 18 people out of like thousands who apply. So respect to her for getting on if she knows she can handle it, which clearly she's fine still. So that's my point on the final Liz thing there. So, and I had a realization at this point in the episode that after Liz had this outburst that there's literally three dead people walking in the game who have 0% chance to win, which harkens back to the Jeff quote at the beginning of the season when he's like, one of your personalities will not allow you to win the game. So we have Venus, who clearly people just don't respect at all, and in conversations she's too abrasive and too upfront with information and being like trying to people think she's trying to play games and stuff by just talking. She has no chance to win. We have Q, who has pissed everybody off. I think everybody besides maybe Soda is upset with him and would not vote for him at the end. So there's another goat being a person who is going to make it to the final tribal council and has 0% chance of winning. And I think you can throw Liz in that group. Who's going to vote for her after this freak out? She's acting super immature. I could be totally wrong. And if the final three is Liz, Q, and Venus, I think Liz has a good shot, bro. That's her only winning scenario. But I think other than that, she's pretty dead in the water. So I thought that was interesting. I feel like usually, at least recently, we don't have these three people who are just clearly dead in the game, and if they get to the end have like 0% chance of winning. Maybe I'm just paying attention to that more, and maybe the season's more easy to understand. But that was the thought that occurred to me. Okay, and then we cut to the weekly Ben dumping on Q crap, which is his only thing at this point. Literally, I think that was his only confessional this whole episode, was him just dumping on Q. Shocker. That's all he has to say here. Well, he had like a Van Halen quote or whatever. Cool. So then we cut to Liz's backstory, where she grew up with food insecurity, which lays kind of the background to why she gets so upset with Q for not picking her on this reward. It was fine. It was funny that they include a picture of her at Applebees. So I thought that was just a funny note. Backstory, typical Survivor sob story. Felt bad for her, obviously. Backstory, blah, blah. But Liz, sorry you had to go through that. You're a millionaire now. I think you're probably doing fine. Okay. And then we go to Q, and he's not feeling sorry for himself for picking Liz. And I'm backing Q. Q won the reward, Liz. If you want to pick who goes to Applebee's, if you want to go to Applebee's, win. Get through the freaking obstacles and don't be last. You were the last person to come out of the obstacles. Q, man, he's dead man walking, as I just stated. What does he have to feel sorry about? He doesn't have to like buck up to you or whatever. Like, he doesn't. It's his game, bro. He can pick whoever he wants. So that's right, Q. I'm Team Q still, obviously. So then we go to the immunity challenge, where we get the first time in the new era where usually they have to negotiate for the rice. They tried last week, they failed, and then this week Jeff's trying to do it again, where did he want 3 or 4 people to come out? But either way, nobody wants to do it. Kenzie goes at it first, and then obviously Liz does because she hasn't eaten. And then Kenzie decides that once the other people have not stepped forward, that she's going to step back and participate in the challenge. And then Liz gets her own little like jar of rice, which good for her. Now she can eat. Now everyone's happy. Now, aren't you happy you blew up at everyone about not eating and you have your own little jar to eat? Okay, yep. Anyways, I still Liz, I'm like middle of the pack on. Sometimes I like her, sometimes I don't like her. This episode, I lean towards not liking her, but she gets her own rice. She sits out. She says something cringy. She's pretty cringy though. So then we get the challenge where everyone wants Q to lose, so they can just easily vote him out. I think Kenzie and Ben drop before Q, and then we get the slow motion Q again, which is the second time in the season where we get a slow motion challenge shot. It's this challenge where you're like holding this bucket of water, and if you drop your handles, the bucket drops in the tile and you're out. So Q, you can also like readjust to make it go back up. So Q's trying to like readjust, and slowly he's falling, and then you see the slow-mo of him just like looking at it fall, and I felt bad for him here. Thought maybe this was it for Q, but obviously it doesn't end up being it. But this was another sad moment. I'm not sure how many slow-mo challenge moments we have, but Q here has 2 this season, and this was supposed to be the end for him. So he drops, then Maria drops, then it's down to Charlie and Tiffany. And Charlie, bro, message to Charlie, stop doing weird shit during these challenges. Like 2 weeks ago, he's licking the pole with Hunter, and I don't know, I think that was slow-mo too, actually. He's like, and then this time it's him and Tiffany. He looks over, he's like, dude, stop. Try and focus on this challenge and win this challenge. Stop being weird, okay? That's my message to Charlie. Tiffany gets all distracted because she tries to like wink back at him and then immediately loses it, which I thought was obvious because she didn't move all challenge, and then at the last second she just drops, like, obviously. Okay, and then so Charlie wins. 2 in a row for Charlie. What a beast. And now I'll give props to Charlie because he's my exact archetype of someone who goes on the show, runner from Boston. Respect to the runner nation, man. We can do it too. And he talks about how he did like dead hangs and prepared for this, and it's really paying off. So good for him. Proud of you, Charlie. Boston pride, even though you can skip some of the Taylor Swift bullcrap. Even though I like Taylor Swift, for the record. Okay, so after that, but here's my plan for the vote since they're so confused. Why don't you split the vote? So Maria wants Tiffany out because this is her only shot. And obviously she ends up achieving this. But at the beginning I'm like, why don't you just quote split the vote, and then you split up that minority or possible majority. Like, Maria, you go get your people. You get Ben, Charlie, and Q even. You don't need Liz. And then you tell them to like split it. You get like Liz and Venus to do one thing, and Kenzie and Tiff to do another. And then you have your people like do like a Tony type shit. That was just my like big galaxy brain like initial thought, because I'm trying to come up with situations in my head to save Q, obviously. So yeah, that was my solution, was you guys put your 4 on Tiff, and then actually, maybe I was thinking that they also, you could just split the vote and then revote Tiff if she plays the idol. Yeah, no, this is all right. So here's my actual plan. You split the vote. You have Q vote for Tiff. You have Tiff vote for Q, and then it's a 4-4. You don't need Liz, and then you revote. If Tiff plays the idol, Q goes. If she doesn't, then you revote Tiff out, and that would be like another like Shan situation. But they obviously were able to. I'll talk about it. Okay, so. Yeah, once we come back from the commercial after the challenge, Maria's rallying the troops, and this is a very strong Maria episode. She's talking about how this being a game-winning move, and she actually pulls it off, so we'll see for my top 3 to win later. But Maria, man, rally the troops, add a way to lead a vote. So she goes to Charlie. Her and Charlie are obviously this strategic duo who have been making these decisions the whole game. They want to get Tiff, and then they get Ben to go with them. Ben is drawing dead, in my opinion. I don't think there's any chance he wins the game, because literally his only content is for this like big strategic blindside is just him being like, yeah, let's do it. So they get Ben, and then they go to Q. Well, first he has this is moment 2 of the paying it back. See, I remember these things from Maria going up to him at the beginning of the episode. She has Q now, and she's like, your game ain't over yet if you don't want it to be. And he's like, I'm here, I'm ready. And props to Q, man. This is 3 in a row. He survived where he could have possibly been going home. But so those are the people she gets, and then they have the decision of going between Venus or Liz to get the last vote to get 5 out of 8 votes. and they choose Liz, which props them, I think is a smart move. But my logic here is like, bro, whoever's approached with this plan, you obviously just vote out Tiffany if like you're able to keep it silenced. Because obviously if she hears about it, she's gonna play her idol. But once you like, all of these people should be saying yes to this, because this is your only possible chance for Tiffany. Like, she could win immunity next 2 weeks, and then she's in the final five with her idol, and then that's it. You have no chance to vote her out. So whoever's being approached with this plan, get Tiff now, man. So respect to everyone that was able to follow through on this move. Maria rallies the troops. Yeah, and Q's also just a dead man walking. As I stated before, I don't think he has any % chance to win the game. So the clear move here is to go for Tiffany. And my other point, so at Tribal Council, they're all like pussyfooting around, just shooting on Q basically. And my point here is this man sits on the beach all day in the corner and just reflects on life and waits for Maria to come up to him I think she came up to him twice today and just talked to him. Okay, like what is so intolerable about him now? And last week he was the same way. Like, he doesn't try to do anything. He just sits there. And whatever, they just don't like Q anymore. So I thought that was annoying. And I also thought it was odd that there hasn't really been somebody like this in the new era where it's just a dead, like, yep, I'm going home tonight. At least when there's like a lot of people left, like usually there's some deception of like a fake plan to somebody, or there's a blind side. Everyone's just like, yeah, we're voting for Q, and he's just like, yep, I tried to put out a plan and like we'll see if it works. I thought that was interesting, and I feel like we don't see that a lot, especially nowadays. And then the vote happens, and when I watch with my mom, me and my mom watch, she's always like, who do you think are going? And I was like, I think it's Tiff. And the only reason why I give that answer is because I always want to choose the more riveting option and the more interesting / dramatic option, because I love drama. So they reveal the votes. I think it was 1-1 Q and Tiffany, and then they do the 2 Q votes, so it's 3-1, and then the rest of the votes are for Tiffany. Tiffany, second person in a row to leave with her idol in her pocket. Next week there's going to be all types of idols in the island, or probably just one planted. We'll see who finds it. But Kenzie snowed. She had no idea about this move. They didn't portray it that negatively, in my opinion, but we'll see in my top 3 winner rankings what I think this affects. This was the move that Kenzie wanted, and it happened, but she wasn't a part of it. So I'm not sure if we were supposed to give her credit for this, or no. Well, obviously we're not supposed to give her credit for it, but were we supposed to feel like she was an idiot that was left out, or I don't know how we're supposed to analyze this for the Kenzie winner believers. But yeah, Tiffany is gone from the game. Tiffany, another fine contestant, she had some funny, I feel like her funny moments were more early in the season, more character moments there. And I liked her overall, didn't have any gripes with her. Her fights with Q were electric, and she's going to be the 4th member of the jury. So she will have a vote to cast for someone to win this game. So with that being said, that's basically all I had to say on the episode here. Oh, next week I'll have to watch it again, but it was a lot of kind of chaos around camp with them knowing that Hunter probably had an idol and Tiff had an idol, so they rehide the idols after they go out of the game. So now there's going to be 7 people on the beach looking for idols. I think there was something about Liz mentioning that she hates Q, and Q had a good moment. Whatever it is, that's my mood. I forgot what he said, but King Q next week, survive again. Let's go. Okay, that being said, my top 3 to win this game changed this week. Number 1, I have Charlie. I think he's been getting this kind of subtle backstory this whole season, and people have been saying he's like the Jim Halpert in The Office, where everyone's around him's all these crazy people, and they always cut to Jim where he's kind of just like he knows what's going on. So I'm starting to see the storyline where Charlie is like the main narrator and the main character of the season. I got Charlie number 1. Number 2, after this week, I have Kenzie. I think she had a lot of bad things happen to her this episode. She's completely left out of the vote. Well, that's really the only bad thing, but I think I don't know. Charlie's in on this move, so Charlie has more of a resume than Kenzie at this point, so I moved Kenzie down to number 2. And then number 3, I have Maria. My only thing with Maria is she's had episodes where she's just completely disappeared. Obviously, this is her episode where she dominates, and why I also kept her down here is I don't think there's any chance of it being someone other than Charlie or Kenzie, but Maria is my number 3 just because she had such a strong episode, and I feel like there's been enough there for her to be the winner. But my main concern with her is that in the new era, as I stated before, when you make a move, and clearly she was the one spearheading this, Liz even calls that out before they go to tribal council. Maria, I think she might be next, or she has a possible chance of being voted out. Like, I don't see Charlie or Kenzie being voted out soon. I think Maria has that possibility, so Maria is still number 3 in my top 3 to win. So my top 3 out next week. I had an easy time with 1 and 2, but 3, not sure. So my number 1 out next week is Liz. I think after this week's temper tantrum, people might start getting sick of her, and she got the backstory this week, which means you go home next week. So Liz is my number 1. Number 2, I have Q. Clearly still on the top of the minds of all the contestants out there. I think he will be a target at some point. I just can't see him making the end of the game. I think he is going to be voted out at some point, and there's not really someone else that I can point to and say they're out next. My number 3 was Ben, just because I think Kenzie, Charlie, and Maria are all pretty safe, and I think Venus is in it for the long haul. There's nobody coming for Venus. So my number 3 is Ben, just due to somebody that they could turn to and say, let's get him out for no reason. Okay, so that is going to wrap up my episode about Survivor Season 46, Episode 10, what to expect in the near future. So, new podcast added to the mix. I will be doing a UFC 301 predictions and gambling advice podcast. Don't know how long it will be, but that will probably come out either Friday or Saturday. Still have movie reviews for All the President's Men and Looper. One of those 2 will probably come out after the UFC. So this weekend you'll get the Survivor today, whatever that is for you, Wednesday or Thursday. And then Friday will be the UFC picks and analysis. And then Saturday or Sunday will be Looper or All the President's Men movie review. So yeah, guys, we're getting close to that 10th episode. Going to start pulling people on. I'm really having some good ideas for this podcast. I think it's going to be a good podcast, so stay tuned. Keep showing love. Appreciate it from you guys with the 5-star ratings and the subscribes and likes on YouTube. Yeah, keep it real. Have a good one. Peace.